Hey guys, I'm Untitled Chapter, and today I'll be reviewing World of Light, which was released as part of Super Smash Bros., which was back in 2018. Now, World of Light is the main story mode for Smash Bros. Ultimate, and the main plot is that basically all of the fighters in Smash Bros. Has been taken by this entity called Gleam, and the only one to escape is Kirby. Now it's up to Kirby to basically free all the other fighters and basically stop Gleam from taking over the world, or the universe. And about halfway through the story you meet another evil entity guy called Darkagon, which is basically this tentacle version of Gleam, where if you look at Gleam, he's more light based and more of like this sort of like heavenly sort of entity, and if you look at Darkagon, he's basically this sort of like evil, hellish sort of entity. And the main plot, I think, is interesting. It's very different from the previous story that was brought into Smash Bros., which was back in Brawl with Subspace Emissary, and you can clearly see that these two stories are very, very different from one another. And I think that World of Light is an interesting story because it's basically just you collecting fighters and you freeing everyone and trying to stop both Gleam and Darkagon from taking control over everything. Now, throughout the game, throughout the story, you will gain fighter after fighter, but you will also gain things called spirits. Now, spirits are basically a thing in both that you can use in story mode as well as the normal, if you're playing in Smash mode with friends and stuff like that, where you have where you have these things where they can give you certain abilities. So there's some spirits that can make you larger, some spirits that might make you immune to lava or spicy curry, or might flip the controls whenever when they're inverted and stuff like that. And then you can put it in secondary support spirits, which basically do the same thing. I think they have secondary abilities and stuff like that. And I think this whole spirit thing is, I think it's probably one of my favourite features in World of Light, just because you can just basically customize your own spirit. You can basically just get different spirits and have them help you in battle. And there are 4 types of spirits. There's technical, shield, sword, and neutral. Now, neutral is basically the basic spirit you can find. It's got no weaknesses, it's got no advantages, disadvantages, that sort of thing. Then with sword, it's good against technical, but bad against shield or defense. With defense, it's good against, I believe, sword, but bad against technical. And with technical, I believe it's good against shield. Good against sword, but bad against defense, I think. And I think the whole thing, it kind of reminds me of the whole Pokemon type advantages, where you've got fire is good against grass is good against water, and water is good against fire. It kind of reminds me of that with the whole choosing your own spirits thing, and whenever you go into a fight, because each fight always has a different spirit, and you have to try and find which spirit is good against the spirit that you're going against. Now, with the fighters, you basically find them randomly across the map, so you don't really know who you're going to find. And whenever you start a new one, it's always the same ones. They're all in the same places. So Link is always going to be where he was when he played World of Light the first time. Villager is going to be where he is when you first find him, that sort of thing. I think with the whole placement of where each fighter is, I think that keeps a nice sort of of you getting who each fighter is. So when you first come across the first three fighters, the first 3 or 4 fighters, you think, okay, the first fighter I get Mario, that you free. Then the next 3, okay, I've got these 3 fighters, and then there's this character, and that character, and then I'm gonna choose which character that I'm going to choose, and then come back later to free the other 2. So I think that's a really cool and interesting way to play the game. And now it's time for some gameplay. Now, one of the cool things about World of Light is that when you start up the game, if you've seen the trailers or played like the whole of story mode of this, you start off as Kirby, and the whole of the overworld basically looks like it's basically covered in fog, basically, and that's quite cool because then you can basically just go in any direction of the world that you're going, and then in the first, then you come across like different things called spirits, and then you can like basically choose which spirit you can be in. But if you're playing it for the very first time, you won't have any spirits. But because I've been playing this a couple of times, you can basically just choose whatever spirit you can choose if you've already like played this like a couple of times, like once or twice, or so yeah. So I'm not gonna choose any spirits for this. So I'm just gonna like just because I think it's fair. So yeah, and each spirit has like a different unique like ability. So for example, or different cognition, or not cognition, condition, in which like for example, as just what Mario just turned to metal. And I think that's quite cool because you have to like try and focus on how you basically fight each character, and how you can basically use the whole map and battle to your advantage. So wait, I can just beat Mario. There we go. So every time I win a match, I'll get that specific spirit that I've gotten in the game, and also some rewards like gold, SP, I think stuff. I can't remember what the SP stuff does. Some skill spheres and some snacks. I think for the spirit, and some slow charging, final smash stuff. Oh wait, oh yeah, the SP coin is basically stuff you can buy at the different shops you can go to, and you're basically given basically a little explanation of how spirits and support spirits work, which I think is quite useful, because you can basically in each match you can basically just see like, oh okay, I can do this with this spirit. So for example, I'm going to use a spirit. So let's say I want to use, let's say, PT Piranha, let's say Gyarados, and let's have, let's have, oh I don't know, you know what, let's, Flood, maybe not, critical health defense, let's say. So so each spirit will have their own conditions. So for me, because I put PT Piranha on, if this will load, Kirby is now big. Yeah, and I could have done that, but yeah, but you can also rematch the spirit, and I think after every battle, if you like win or lose, I think this particular spirit gains experience, and I think the max level is 99. So let's do this better now. So yeah, so that's what I think. I think the whole spirits thing is quite cool because you can just use, like, you know, it's kind of like how the spirits do their own condition things, like it basically you have to like use your own powers to your advantage. So because I had PT Piranha on, I had to, like, you know, that gives me more damage, and then that makes me able to basically beat the match quickly, or a lot quicker. So I think that's quite cool. So yeah, one of the things I would have been better, in my opinion, is that there was some more much more of a threat in the game. Like we could have there could have been we could have seen Ganondorf, or let's say a possessed Ganondorf, or possessed King K. Rool or something. It's like some possessed bad guys to try and stop us. And there is something like that in this game, or in World of Light, but it's just not really there, if you know what I mean. Because in the game, in specific parts, you can fight characters like Bowser, this giant robot thing. This giant robot thing, I don't exactly remember, but it would have been more of a threat if they were working for Galeem. And if you fought someone like Bowser or Ganondorf, they would come over to your side and they wouldn't be possessed. So yeah, and now you're going to be facing our first actual fighter. So, and then in the game, in this mode in particular, you will always bump into a fighter, I think every 5 or 10 minutes. And I think that's quite cool, because then you can basically add to your roster of characters and just and keep the whole thing expanded and expanded. And I think if you collect enough fighters, I think 10 or so fighters, and you've bought the DLC characters, so like Piranha Plant, Joker, Sephiroth, Sora, you'll get the additional DLC characters. And so now, since I've got Mario, my roster has gained a character by 1. So I'm just going to be playing as Mario for a bit, and then I'm going to talk about the rest of it, World of Light, like towards the in terms of like the end story thing. So, and also I do like how for a lot of the fighters, a lot of them represent specific characters or enemies. So for example, you've got Rob, who's supposed to look like a Guardian. And I did like that. Because like, he's got like the colour scheme, and I did like how he's like used, and how each character like used in those specific areas, and how they represent the specific characters that they're supposed to be doing. So I think that's quite fun. So yeah, I think that's quite interesting and cool. Now, in this part, I think like in the very early part of the game, or in story mode, you come across these 3 characters, with the left one being Marth, the top one being Sheik, and I think the right one being Villager. Now, depending on which one you want to go for, you'll have to choose. You basically have to choose one of these guys, and the other 2 will be blocked off from you. So let's go with Sheik, because I've got the advantage. So we've got basically the primary types: shield, claw thing, and sword. And it basically works like how Pokemon does it. Like, fire is good against grass, grass is good against water, and water is good against fire. So you basically think, okay, I've got these spirits, how I'm going to use them to my advantage. So I think that's quite interesting and cool, of how to use the spirits and how you might try and win them in battle. So yeah, and yeah, so okay. So yeah, so I've got an extra character to my roster, so that's being Sheik. I think that's quite cool, because like, depending on which way you want to go, you basically fight more spirits, more fighters, and then you can basically just path your own way in a direction that might be different to like your friend who might be playing World of Light. So yeah, so after you've freed one of the fighters, the other 2 fighters will be blocked off from you until I think you hit a particular area in the game where you can just basically unlock those 2 characters, or just go around the long way and just come up to get them. And also, you've got a skill tree section, which basically, you can basically just choose different things. So you might want to get neutral attack up, I think, or tilt attack up, and you basically have to collect different a certain amount of skill spheres, and then the more you collect, the more you'll earn more skill to learn, and the more stuff you can get. But you will need to collect a bunch of spheres. So let's go with neutral attack up. So yeah, and now I'm going to show you the rest of, mainly like the rest of the maps or the rest of the game, of how the more progression you do, the more stuff you can do in the game or in the story mode. So as soon as you beat Galeem in the light world, you basically are brought into this sort of dark world type area, where you have to basically fight the Darkagon. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. And you basically travel like in the light world, travel across like this other dark world, fighting more spirits, collecting more characters, that sort of thing. And I do like how the different worlds that you can come across. So if you look at the entire world of a map of the light world. So if we look at the light realm, you can basically see it's all peaceful and colourful and so full of life, and it's a place that you might want to go to if you're in a video game. But if you go to the dark realm, if we can, once this loads. And when it comes to the dark realm, it's a lot more darker. It uses a lot more purple colours, a lot more pinky purple, sort of reddish colours, and it's a good contrast of how the two realms compare with each other. And then once you've beaten the Darkagon or something, you come to the final realm of the game, the final battle area, which is basically I think it starts off with the sort of like push between light and dark. So I think if you got a specific character in one area, then one section will push one way. But if you've got a bunch of other fighters on another section, then the other side would push like the other way. So yeah, and I do like how the closer you get to both Galeem and Darkagon, the music sort of stops. It basically fades out a bit, if we can get there. Oh no, wrong way. I think I'm going the wrong way. So yeah, basically the music basically fades out, and you basically hear the sort of holy kind of sound, I guess. And if you and also I do like how you can either fight Galeem or Darkagon together or on their own, but I would say fight them together because that gives you the true ending. But if you fight them depending on which one you choose, if you fight them one-on-one, like if you fight Galeem by himself, you'll get an ending where Darkagon wins. But if you fight Darkagon alone, you'll get Galeem's ending. But if you fight them together, like you against both of them, you can choose 3 characters, which I think is really generous, because then you can just basically choose 3 characters. So for me, let's say I'll go with Link, Cloud, and let's go with Simon. So I'm going to keep it that with P.T. Piranha. And then you can choose like which spirits you want to bring into battle with you. And then with the final battle between you and Galeem and Darkagon, you basically have to climb up this sort of battle arena type section, where you basically have to get to the very top to fight both Galeem and Darkagon. But it does take some time to get there, and then throughout this section, basically fight different light and dark spirits of the different characters that you freed along the game. So Yeah, but it only includes like the characters that you see in like the trailers, like you think of like Snake, Inklings, Sonic, Mario, that sort of thing. So it won't include things like Joker, Piranha Plant. I don't think Sephiroth, Banjo-Kazooie. It only include like the main fighters in the main game, not the DLCs. And also you will have to try and dodge both Gleam and Darkagon from Zaya to try and avoid their attacks. So yeah, I think there's like another quite challenge. Oh, nice little challenge. And okay, this is quite the challenge because you have to try and just avoid everything that comes towards you. So yeah, it's okay. There we go. And I do like how you can see like Galima or Darkagon, depending on which how far you've got into this mode in the background. So I think that's quite cool. I don't know. I don't know what to think about. Like, it's nice that you can see like all the different fights, but I don't know about how like how a majority of the time they just avoid you. Because like I could just stay here, and nothing's really happening to me. They just fight themselves. Because like I'm just standing here, like just taunting away, and they just avoid you. So yeah, I mean, it would have been better if like if they were fighting you as well instead of each other, like at the same time. But I don't know, maybe I don't mind. If it's like if it's into the story quite well, I'm sure it works fine. So yeah. Yeah, and it does get quite repetitive after a while. It's basically, oh, you just fighting your way through fighting your way through different areas, fighting against different characters in the game, like depending on which they'll be like either light or dark. But I do like that transition. Like it goes from like light and peaceful to like more sort of dark and like more purpley, and it suits this game, well, this mode in particular, quite well. I kind of wish that this sort of like platform was like Final Destination. Like if you look at these platforms, I wish this was like, part of me wishes that this was like Final Destination, because like I do like Final Destination, the one that we've got, but it would have been cool if this was more Final Destination-y. So yeah, now I've lost Link, I have now got Simon Belmont. So and if you like lose like all your characters, you're done for. So like yeah. So let's say I'm just gonna lose Simon, and then lose Cloud, then it's defeat, like in every other battle. So that's been it for the gameplay. Now it's time to go back to the review. So as you progress through the game, as you saw in the gameplay, you unlock more areas and more fighters. So about halfway through the game you unlock the Dark Realm, and then finally you unlock the final area where Gleam and Darkagon is. And I think progressing like with all these different realms are quite interesting, because like the more you fight, the more you get to the final battle. And with the final battle, I think it's interesting because of the way you can fight Gleam and Darkagon, because you can either fight them separately or fight them together as one. And what I like about that is that you're given 3 different endings. So the first one is the true ending, is when you beat both Gleam and Darkagon at the same time, and that gives you the true ending, and that basically means you've been in the game and you've freed everyone. And then the next 2 endings are basically the same one, but depends on who you fight individually. So if you beat Gleam, then Darkagon wins and he takes over the world and everything is enshrouded in darkness. But if you beat Darkagon, then Gleam wins and everything is shrouded in light and stuff like that. So I think the endings are quite interesting. It kind of reminds me of Persona in terms of that endings, in which depending on like where you are in the game, you get like different endings. If you manage to, like, let's say, beat all the dungeons in the game, then you get the good ending, so you get the true ending. But if you aren't able to finish a particular dungeon, then you get the bad ending. So I think with Wall of Light, that's a really cool way of like doing the different endings. Like, it's just not one main ending, it's 3 different endings that you can choose from. And overall, I think that World of Light is a nice, interesting story. I would have liked it if like it wasn't just battle after battle. I think it would be nice if we got some more like cutscenes, maybe. Like, let's say there was a cutscene of like let's say Gleam trying to take, let's say, the fighters that you already had, or Dargon trying to take the fighters away, or something like that. I would like to see more stuff instead of just being battle after battle, because I think that's one of the things that kind of drags World of Light down, is that it's just constant battles and you've never really given any time to like just breathe for like 5 minutes. It's just you go into one battle, then you go into the next one, and then after that you go into the next one. And so I would have liked it if it just holds the breaks for like a second, and then it would allow us to catch a breath, that sort of thing. So overall, I think World of Light is enjoyable, despite some of the things that I don't like about it, like the whole, I said before, the fights, like just being one after the other. But overall, I think it's fun, and yeah, and I think if you do have Smash Bros. Ultimate, I highly suggest playing World of Light. And if you haven't got it yet, I highly suggest go get Smash Bros. And then play through World of Light as well. Oh, and also, one thing I forgot to mention is that if you do play World of Light, the fighters that you collect will be added to the roster. So let's say, when you first do play Smash Bros. And you go into the roster, you're only given like a few characters, so like I think the original ones from the original game, and then as the more characters you find in World of Light, the more they will be added to the roster, so you don't have to wait for like a new character just to be added in every like 5-10 minutes. So I think that bit is really cool. So yeah, so thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and see you in the next video.